So this is about book layout programs and designers. So one of the big costs of book production is typesetting and design, which can't be skipped particularly if the look of the book is essential, such as a colour workbook, recipe book, or even a general book, because some people might pick up a book and they'll be disheartened if they find that it's not what they're accustomed to when they read a traditionally published book, if it's too close together, the lines, or they have extra spacing where it shouldn't be. So a general disadvantage of doing it yourself is a lack of knowledge about things like chapter right-hand pages, that they should start on the right-hand side if possible, margins and gutters needed for best viewing. A gutter is in the middle of the book, and size ratio compared to how long the book is, so it's not too fat this way when it's a small book. Which way the cover spine text goes as well. There's a right way and a wrong way. Where headers go in the book and what kind of header to have. Typeface ideals, and you can see that's just Times New Roman so that it's easy to read. And making enough line spacing, called leading. One celebrity client of mine hired a top graphic designer to do her book cover. Trouble is, the designer had never designed a book before, and he put the spine text just as he thought on the book cover. But as we all checked things on screen, no one picked up that it was the wrong way up. So I sent the client the proof for approval, which is a mistake. It was never picked up and remains upside down today. And so when you see the books behind me on the shelf, all their titles are around a certain way, so that if they are placed down on the shelf like this, the title is still able to be read up that way. But this book had it up the other way. There's also a lot of other niceties, like using character styles, drop caps, same amount of chapter spacing at the start of the chapter, and use of different chapter masters. I noticed most new authors, they want to typeset their non-fiction book in Word, but Word is designed for processing documents and not for book design. However, some authors want to be able to access the file again, which is fair enough, and they're not worried about the colours inside not being controlled and that sort of thing. So there are workarounds if they want to use Word and remain, in control. Adobe InDesign is the industry standard for book design, but it's not the only software you could use. It's just really more compatible with Ingram Spark. All tools for book formatting have some pros and cons, as I'm going to list. And remember, the interior of any book is completely separate to the cover. And so that's when you upload it, that is. And they must have the same sizing, of course. So always check that the sizing is correct to what you said. So there's a few design tips below and a free tool that you can use if you want to try your own book layout. I obviously prefer InDesign because it's meant for this sort of thing. Master pages and style sheets do save me time. Another thing you can do easily with InDesign, or Affinity is another one, is put in the cute book boxes called a pull quote. And I've got this example there. Or you could just go and do an ebook only. And you can actually still do flourishes in the ebooks, but it's just a little bit harder to achieve. And one program you can use is Kindle Create. So there's a list of programs that you can use that make it somewhat easier. And Scrivener is probably the top one for the self-publishers, and Adobe InDesign is the top one for book publishing, imprints,